What's up everybody, it's Paul from Boosted Films, and in this video we're going to change the engine air filter and cabin air filter on this 2021 Ford Edge. So before we start on this job, just a quick tip about tools. You don't need any tools if you're just doing the cabin air filter, but to change the engine air filter, you should have a flathead screwdriver or a 7mm socket, a 5/16 socket, and of course a ratchet and or some extensions for those sockets. So we're going to start on the passenger side of the car to do our cabin air filter change. We're going to move our seat back, give us a little bit of extra room. This is a typical behind the glove box cabin air filter. So what we really need to do is drop our glove box out of the way to access our cabin air filter. So go ahead and push the button to open up your glove box. Take anything out of there if there's stuff in there. Note this arm on the right side. You can see where it kind of pushes into place. So we're going to lift up on that and you'll hear it snap out of place, and then we're going to pull it out. As you can see, there's a larger hole and a smaller hole in the glove box there that holds it up. Next, showing towards the top of the screen here, you can see these little latches that it holds onto that kind of hold it up. Those are just plastic. You should be able to bend them both up. So you kind of have to, it's a little tricky to film, but you should be able to bend them both up and then drop it down, and your glove box should fall far enough out of the way so you do have access to your blower motor and your cabin air filter. Now there's a door here where our cabin air filter is, and there's a latch on each side. So I just did the right side. On the left side, you can see I use one hand to push out or away a little bit and then pull those tabs that are at the top, pull them towards me so this cover folds down. Then of course you should be able to pull out your old cabin air filter. If it is super dirty, just try to make sure you keep everything on top of the filter itself so it doesn't fall into your blower motor. Next, we're going to compare our old to our new. So I always like to make sure it's about the same shape so we're not fighting any battles with the wrong part. So here's the one that I have. Airflow direction is noted on the side. Airflow direction is going to be down. So you're going to want to point the arrow down. As you can see, it's dirty on that top part. So yeah, airflow direction down. Open up your new one. And now, again, noting the airflow direction when we slide this in place. It should slide in pretty easily. Just give it a push in. And then closing this actual top, or closing this cover, is a little bit trickier than it should be. You need to kind of push down. I found the trick is to push down on those top tabs. That's the way it kind of lines up a little bit better. So I had to give a little pressure to push it down and then push it forward towards that blower motor. So if you're just trying to bend this back in place, note that a good way to get it to line up is just kind of put some pressure on it and push it down. So I guess just know that it shouldn't be really hard to push this in place. If it is, it's probably not lined up quite right. Next, we're going to make sure that soft open arm is kind of out of the way when we lift up our glove box back in place. So we lift up our glove box. You're going to need some extra force, but you should just be able to basically lift it up, give it an extra push, and then it'll be back up in place like it was. And now it's held up in place, but we got to reconnect this soft open arm on the side. You should be able to pull that in and out a little bit to adjust it as needed. Line it back up with that hole, of course the larger part of the hole towards top, and then use a little bit of force and push it down. It should snap in place. And there you go. Now your glove box should be working just like it did before, and you have successfully changed your cabin air filter. Go ahead and put your seat back if you need to, and close your door. And we're going to move over to the other side of the car and open up our driver's side door, because now we need to do some work under the hood. So we're going to go and release our hood. We're going to pull this lever to release our hood latch. And now towards the front of the car, you might have to lift up the hood a little bit, but just above that Ford symbol, you can see this yellow handle in here. You got to get your hand in there, curve your hands down, finger down a little bit, and then go to the left. As I'm showing here, you're pulling that lever to the left. That releases that latch where you can lift up your hood. Now here's our airbox. This funnels air into our turbo in this case, in this one. But we need to remove a couple screws, a couple bolts, like I mentioned. This first clamp on this hose, you could use a flathead. I have a 7mm, probably an American equivalent size would work as well. But loosen that up, give it a little spin. It should spin over as I just did. And then that'll be ready to come off when we need to take it off. Next, the 5/16, I'm going to utilize that to remove this one screw or one bolt here that's in place. Next, this is a different style clamp kind of hose thing. So you push these two yellow pieces. You can see I'm pushing them kind of towards the front of the car a little bit, and then they slide down. It's like a clip that kind of clips in place. You slide it down, get your finger towards the bottom. You should be able to pull it down. And once it's out of the way enough, you should be able to just pull that hose off. So as I just pointed to, you got to go that way and down. Now there's one more plug-in that you need to unplug down here. My hand was in the way, like to show you guys while I was filming it. But there's a white piece that needs to slide that holds it in place, and then you unplug it. So I'm gonna show you, this is after I reconnected it. So you just slide this white piece down, and now if I slide it back up, it locks in. So you gotta slide that white piece down, and then you should be able to pull that plug and unplug it. Now on the right side of that airbox, there are two clips. Basically, you're just gonna unclip those two clips. And now we've pretty much separated the top of our airbox from the bottom. We're gonna remove that hose that we loosened up the clamp for. We're gonna pull that off. And then we're gonna lift up the top half of the airbox and separate it from the bottom half. Be mindful of that wire that's still connected. If you did unplug it, you could unplug it and remove that top piece all the way, but you shouldn't need to. And now you can see our engine air filter here. It's just a drop-in filter basically, so you should be able to remove the old one. This one was still in pretty good shape. Someone was doing their maintenance, so that's good. But you're going to pull out your old air filter, and you're going to, of course, compare it to your new one, just like we did before. If there's any large debris in the bottom of your airbox, just go ahead and pull it out, vacuum it out if you really want to. Again, a quick comparison. We're going to compare the old to the new, make sure they look about the same. This one had a little extra filter on it, basically that white part, but it should work just the same, if not better. So now just drop in your new air filter. It should just drop in place. The actual part of putting it in is pretty easy, so it should drop in, but take a double check, make sure it's lined up right. Now, there are some hooks. There's some spots that need to line up on the left side of the airbox, the part closest to the engine. So as you can see, I reconnected that hose first. I shouldn't have done that. That makes it harder to actually get these in right. You kind of need to tip this up. You want to tip it up towards the side I'm at and tip it down towards the engine. So I'm going to remove this hose that I connected prematurely, and I'm going to change the view here a little bit, give you a better angle. You can see I needed to slide in a couple of slots. There's like 3 different spots where it needs to slide in that I'm looking for right now. It should slide in there first, and then you should be able to set it down. So you just want to make sure those are kind of slid in place on the side closest to the engine first, and then you should be able to reconnect those clamps on the right side, the side closest to me, where you should be able to reconnect those with relative ease, and you can make sure it all lined up. So now we can reconnect that hose, that intake hose. So we're going to reconnect that right away. And then we're going to start plugging things back in. So we're going to plug this plug in first. It should just snap in place, of course. You should hear it click in. Again, same with this other one. You should be able to push this plug in place. And then after you push it in place, slide that white piece forward to kind of lock it in. And we're going to line up that piece that we unbolted. We're going to put our bolt back in place and screw that back down as well. And there's this one other piece that kind of holds on the hose. I took that off for that line too. So we're going to put that piece back in. And then this hose should just kind of push in place, and then you push up on that yellow kind of clamping part. You might have to line it up a little bit first. I think I had to move it just a little bit and then push up from the bottom, and you can see it popped in place. Next, we're going to tighten up everything, of course. So the first thing we're going to do is tighten up the bolt holding that one piece down. So we're going to tighten that up. Shouldn't have to be too tight. Just get it till it's kind of snug, and then it should be good to go. And then we're going to rotate that clamp again. As you can see, that make sure it's on all the way, that hose, and then we rotate that clamp. We slide it over, and then we should be able to tighten it up. This time we're going to utilize our screwdriver, but of course you could use your ratchet and socket as well to tighten that up. There you go. So here's just a close-up of what it should look like when you're done. So I just want to give you a good view of everything. Again, pay attention to those portions where it slides in. The top half of the bottom box slides into the bottom half. That's kind of a key thing you want to watch for. If you're having issues getting it back together, that's definitely an area I'd watch for. Make sure it kind of slides into those slots that I'm showing a little closer up shot of here. Just a little bonus, if your windshield washer fluid might need to be filled, so that's on the other side of the car here, so I'm just showing you where that is on the passenger side. So if you got some windshield washer fluid, you want to get that from your local parts store or even Walmart or anything, go grab some windshield washer fluid and go ahead and just pour it in. You can use a funnel if you want, or if you're good at pouring, you can just pour it right out of the bottle like this. So now we're just going to do a final check, make sure we don't have any tools or anything else underneath the hood. Just make sure everything is reattached that we disconnected, and do a final check before you close up your hood. We should be able to close up your hood and be all set. So there you have it. That's about it for this video, everybody. Of course, I'm just a guy on YouTube who likes to document what he does. So if you think I could have did something better, or if I did something wrong, leave a comment, let me know. Everyone can check the comments. We'll try to make that a useful resource as well. And a way we can also make it useful is if this process worked the same for you, but you have a different model Ford, or maybe you have a different year Ford Edge, just go ahead and let me know if you can, if this process was the same for you, and that could help other people that might be looking to know, if this would work specifically for their vehicle as well. And of course, if you want to help me out, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff, of course, helps. So that will help other people know that this is a good video for them to go to fix their cars as well, if you found this helpful. And a little bonus for this one, I did end up sacrificing an iPhone for this video, as you'll see, because the wind took over my stand for my phone and my screen broke. So bonus for that. Anyway, as always, this is Paul from Boosted Films saying thanks so much for watching. I just want to say that domestic violence is never okay. If you or someone you know is experiencing issues with a partner and doesn't feel safe, please visit the website thehotline.org or call 1-800-799-SAFE.